They touch like every corner. Okay, some people be they holla say they want the power. Them be promise us say we go get light and power. Them hustle sote they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Every day dollar just they get the higher power over naira. Still them talk say make we off mind. But thank God say my ego don't come. So my people make you ladder. My ego don't come. My people make we shout. My ego don't come. My ego don't come, man of the masses. My ego don't come. My ego die the political. My ego don't come. This one not day off in mind. My ego don't come. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that Mayegun, that man do they talk. He do they talk. Say Mayegun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day, then they take money in bulk. Woman picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say, make we no talk. But thank God say, Mayegun don't come. So my people make you laugh. Mayegun don't come. My people make you shout. Mayegun don't come. Man of the masses.
Hello there. Good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Mayegun live.
Glory Facebook, glory YouTube. Mayegun diary, Mayegun power. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí. Mayegun diary, Mayegun power. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o.
Thank you so much for joining me. Share this broadcast. Invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends, and tell them Mayegun today.
Mayegun diary political.
Just before we get fully into this, please let me know if this audio is perfect and if the picture is also cool or superb.
Ani Mayegun lawamo dododo. Mayegun diary,
yes.
Ani ẹ̀sùnra kìlówó.
Mayegun ti dé.
Mayegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùnra kìlówó.
Now, do me this favor, share this broadcast, okay? Like the broadcast, which is your own offering, and tell everybody that. Pack your bags. In Yoruba land, they say if the host is telling you that this time last night I was already in bed, is practically indirectly telling you it is time to go home. Share this broadcast. Nigeria cannot break. Nobody can break up Nigeria. All the fantasy things you have been telling yourselves, Nigeria won't break overnight. It's going to be gradual. Read about Lagos. That's right. If you are a non-Yoruba, listen to this. I don't know if you have been hearing the news already. And if you haven't, you are welcome. If you have been reading the news and you are a Nigerian, a non-Yoruba, it is going to become a battle of your lifetime to attempt to own business in Lagos or to buy landed properties in Lagos. Not just that. They are making laws that is now going to prioritize indigenes of Lagos or indigene of Yoruba. If they have interest where you have your landed property, the government can revoke that license for the sake of that Yoruba indigene. Think about that. Share the broadcast. Usually, a lot of the people who are non-Yorubas right now, they are saying, yes, that serves the Igbos right. Everybody seems to understand why Lagos want to make laws. I mean, this Obasa stuff, after their defeats in their last charade called election, it is payback time. And according to some of you who have no clue, this is targeted at the Igbos. Read about Hitler and the Jews. Thank you. So, good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. And you're welcome to the Temple of Truth. Here is your GO, the General Overseer, the man that sees it and probably makes you understand it better too. You are welcome. The breaking news that came out of Lagos today, there are many others we're going to talk about tonight, but it is better we start from here. In their last election in Lagos, which we have all the documentation of all that happened, visual and then written. However, the end of that election is actually not yet in sight. The ripples of it is about to start manifesting. Now, without speaking in riddles, the last election in Lagos, APC, Egbekegbe, who just few days ago, by the way, just confirmed that their Muslim ticket was about religion dominance, right? But in Lagos, they packaged their campaign in such a xenophobic way that you would think Tifnumbu was running to be president of Lagos. I mean, you witness all of that. And a lot of people at that point decided to make a permanent enmity of the Igbos. But here is other things that happened when they got so blinded by that, hatred of how dare you contest an election with Tifnumbu. It was like they publicly called the Igbos ungrateful people. Tifnumbu gave you life. Tifnumbu made you who you are by coming to Lagos. Is this how you want to pay him back? By voting against him? And all the blah, blah, blah that happened. But there were more that were said. At the time, we saw those who were actually promoting the idea of using politics and political power to put an end to any future opposition from any non-Yorubas. For now, the Igbos are their main, main target until those who are Yorubas too started getting attacked because they smell nice, they dress nice, oh, they look good, they can't be Yoruba, they are not dirty. Therefore, I'm talking about the blindness of that fascist campaign of APC. Normally, Nigeria has 36 states, okay, and a federal capital. According to Nigeria law, section 42 of Nigeria Constitution, I don't know where that is. I read it somewhere. Everybody has been kind of quoting it. Section 42 said, every Nigerian has the right, okay, to live anywhere, own properties, and in fact, own businesses anywhere in Nigeria. That's what their section 42 said. But you know that is not true. Okay? Nigeria has over 250 ethnic nationalities, put it that way, like tribes, with over 500 languages. Religious supremacy, ethnic supremacy, tribal clashes for tribal supremacy are always the norms in Nigeria. The people that are today called Nigerians, for the record, never signed up to be Nigerians. There was never any record that they, despite all these differences, there was no record anywhere that they came together and they agreed to be called one country, as you all know our story. Okay? Now, without defining these differences, setting these barriers that must be respected by every tribe, because you know something, what makes us who we are as people in what is today's Nigeria. Despite Nigeria 60 years or days, people are still very much more connected to their traditional cultural roots, which is their tribe. No matter every other thing that has happened, people are still connected to what? To their root, which is their land. Now, if you really want to have problems anywhere in Nigeria, touch the lands. I'm talking about the land that were not given to you, right? In agreement. That can lead to serious communal clashes, that will lead to serious bloodshed. That is how serious people take their ancestral connection in what is today Nigeria. And I believe that's pretty much the same all over Africa, right? But all of this somehow were kind of haphazardly put together to form a country where people don't even understand themselves. However, over time, with the political machination, orchestration, right, a section of Nigeria was politically, intentionally, economically disadvantaged. We all know all of that. Don't let us pretend about that. What made Lagos what Lagos is today was political. It is not because of a divine intervention or divine happenstance. No. Lagos have access to the sea, the eastern part of Nigeria that actually was recognized as part of a new Nigeria in 1957, Western region, Eastern region, Northern region. At the time, the entire Eastern region, they had access to the same sea that Lagos have access to. Ondo, which is not so close to Lagos, by the way, also have access to the same sea. But for political reason that we all know, if they have access, Igbos, if they have access to the sea, they will be able to leave Nigeria without blinking or looking back. Yes, that's the agreement. So politically, they decided to put a wedge in what was supposed to be the eastern region of Nigeria. And let me put it this way. When they divided Nigeria administratively, they were set up for different reasons. Eastern Nigeria was administratively put together because of their palm oil that was, in fact, the crude oil, the black gold of that time. And it got ruined and destroyed today. Only for what? When the economic activities of that region died, politically, it was political, right? Northern Nigeria was administratively put together because of their agricultural prowess. Yes, granola, and every other farm produce they could get from them. And Western Nigeria was administratively put together as a port to take off everything they are taking from Nigeria. That was it. None of them was put together because of the interest of those who occupied those areas historically. Therefore, the criminals who are supposed to be Nigerians with their own differences, which is obvious. I'm sorry for that blinking. I'm going to take a short one, and then I will return back to continue this, okay? Administrative demarcation of Nigeria. That's where we are, right? Don't go anywhere. Thank you very much for that. And I do apologize for that blinking. I'm fixing it. And I hope that is it. Okay. Thank you for that. So I was telling you this. I'm giving you this background of what really formed Nigeria, which rather than, or put it this way, those who did that and then handed over to Nigeria, what did they do? They had no intention of building a country or uniting a country. At least they could have maintained that sort of a geographical demarcation, which were administratively established at the time. That got truncated in 1966. And since then, the redrawing of Nigeria started for political reason. Economic redistribution of Nigeria, political, redistribution of Nigeria began. So the war was supposed to be the eastern part of Nigeria, suddenly became Niger Delta and eastern Nigeria. And so many other things that when they were doing them, they were telling people then that they were doing this in order to acknowledge the identities of the people from these areas. But people bought that. But economically, the big replant started. It became impossible, right, for the political office holders from that part of Nigeria to continue to underdevelop the place, even when the federal government of Nigeria concentrates more on Lagos. So what happened? As the economic activities in other part of Nigeria started dwindling and dying, right? There was no plan of rejuvenating them or what have you. So Lagos became the short, and suddenly, Lagos, the Yoruba land, became a bone of contention for those who controls the place and those they believe that if they should put their numbers to use in a democracy, as your demonstration of Christ described, and as supposed, Section 42 of one Nigeria, that's a threat that will make them lose everything that they probably have stolen too. What did they do? They played the tribal card. And what happened? We all know that in Lagos, apart from the other part of Yoruba land, the same thing that happened in Igbo land happened all over Nigeria, that then led to a lot of you that led your destination to Lagos. Same thing is actually what happened in Yoruba land as well. To the point that today, 90% of those who controls the political space and the economy of Lagos, political, economy, they are not indigenes of Lagos State. The real indigenes of Lagos, from what is today's Lagos, they have been subjected into playing second fiddle. It's a battle that they believe they may never win, ever. The political part of Lagos State is controlled by other Yorubas from other part of Yoruba land. Ogun State, Oyo State, Osun, even Kwara, Kogi, Ondo, Ekiti. These are the people who controls the leveler of Lagos politics, not Lagosians. When it now comes to the economy of Lagos, apart from them, as political, who hold the political part, they have become rent seekers. They have no idea of economy or of creating one. Rather, with the advantaged position that the politics of Nigeria has placed Lagos, they decided to make themselves rent seekers. They take rent. They can't create wealth. And today, the army of young people, even older people, who are also Yorubas, mostly not from Lagos as well, are currently looking around Lagos, uneducated, untrained, unemployed, unemployable, to the point that they are watching those they now consider as non-Yorubas, holding the chunk of what could be the economy of Lagos. Remember this, their political class, which is for free money, is convenient for them after failing to actually create wealth that symbolizes Yoruba wealth, the advantage of Lagos in the lives of an ordinary Yorubas. Rather than do that, having failed, it is easier to point fingers and say, look at these people. They control your market, they control your this and that. Of course, they pay the huge tax that we are bragging about. But because of your interest, we are going to make laws that will make it difficult for them to do same business, to oppress you. So that then what will happen to the Yorubas? Let me tell you something. In 2001 or thereabouts, they set something up, and it was called, it's like the Commonwealth of Europas. Okay? Now the politicians, so some guys came together. They said, you see, Lagos is very rich. Okay? Lagos can survive without any money from anywhere. Sure, you get? By just the economy of what Lagos has, right? It can survive on its own outside Nigeria. So what happened to the rest of Yoruba land? If Lagos is Yoruba land and it is not a no man's land, we know that Lagos is not no man's land, okay? Leave that. But when they are hiding their failure, that's when they played the card of trying to protect the indigenous or the Yoruba's interest. Now they put this program together. They said, you know what that means? They said the economy of Yoruba land, okay, it will be kind of aggregated and brought together for the benefit of Yoruba people. The plan was Lagos, Lagos has seaport. Ondo also have access to sea, all right? Ogun State have access to the biggest river you can probably think of as well, right? Now, what do? Ogun State is currently the only state in Nigeria with the highest industrialization in the entire Nigeria. The highest registered companies or businesses in Nigeria, Ogun State, right? But how do you kind of bring Southwest Nigeria together economically, protect Southwest Nigeria from any kind of insecurity and all of that, right? Now, they said Osun State, what they would do would be they will have a consolidated fund whereby Osun, Ogun, Oyo, Ondo, Ekiti, and maybe Kwara, they will chip in something every month. Lagos will serve like the big brother. They will also put in a chunk of money. Now, this money, they will build rail from Lagos that will then circle the entire southwest back to Lagos, built for Yoruba, okay? Now, that will create thousands of job economy for Yoruba land, Abi. Then they planned that they were going to establish power plant that will give Yoruba land 24 hours electricity, all of the southwest Nigeria, okay? Also, they were going to build a system whereby the running water system and all of that, the infrastructural development generally for the southwest Nigeria, it will just be like a pool of fund. And when they say, oh, if you go to Ekiti, when you see the road network, when you look at hospitals in Ekiti, it's going to look similar to what you have in Lagos. It's going to look similar to what you have in Ondo. You get what I mean? Like, they were going to invest in everything Yoruba 2001. And they sold that to Tinubu at the time. In one of those ideas was to build a single tax system for southwest Nigeria. An idea to say, well, we used to be Western region. Abi? So if we have one single tax or taxation system, that means they can use the resources in all of building all of this. And before you know it, you can begin to talk about the Yoruba this, Yoruba that, and all of that. But no, the same thing that it says, sending the young Igbos, young Igalas, young Ijos, young Fulani Hausas, young Kanuris, and the rest from all over Nigeria down to Lagos, because they told them they can always succeed in Lagos. Not because there's any plan for them, no. It's a mega slum that the politicians running it have no plan of actually fixing. You know that. It's the same thing that is sending all the Yoruba youths, young people, to Lagos to go and look for opportunities they're all looking for, because there is none. Enough, you will say, in any part of Yoruba land. So, if Lagos State is where, if you are a Yoruba man and a non-Yoruba man want to buy land in Lagos, something that is not same in any part of where have you. But before I even get to that, when they sold this idea to Tifnumbu, you know what he did? He picked that taxation, and that is what became the alpha beta that you have in Lagos and few other places today. And by the time he kind of put all of that together, he gave himself 30% of whatever money that is generated through taxation. Now, as they are building army of Agberos, freeloaders, a lot of them intending politicians who want to be politicians someday, councillors, PA, SA, for free money, no job, no enterprise, no nothing. In this last election, they were all kind of shook to their foundation. Unbelievable. You saw all that happened. They singled out the Igbos, and they said the Igbos called Lagos no man's land, because the Igbos said once they take over Nigeria, they were going to remove all the Yoruba Obas. All of these things were cooked by the criminal politicians who have failed not just the Lagosians, they have failed Yorubas. The numbers of educated or graduated Yorubas who are currently jobless is staggering. Are you with me? For in the last 8 years, or should I say 8 years ago, over 8 years ago now, these criminals said all they needed was for APC, Egbekegbe, to come to power, and they will give Lagos a special status to undo all the influx of non-Lagosians into Lagos. Now, if you will remember very well, I did say that these guys, even after rigging, even after declaring themselves winner, they are not going to let go. They are going to come back with serious vengeance, and their vengeance is to destroy every person or every tribe they considered as enemy. Ask the Hausas in 2002, 2003, when Tifnumbu amplified the OPC against them in Lagos and ask them what happened to them. It is not new. They just have to renew it and put the tag on any tribe they want to. But the likes of Obasa, who is not from Lagos, Sanwo-Eku, who is not from Lagos, Tifnumbu, who is not from Lagos. Like I said, 90% of them not originally from Lagos. They know what they are doing. When they said the indigenes, you know what they did? They didn't say they are making laws to protect Lagos indigenes. They said they are making laws to protect Yoruba indigene of Lagos. What happened to non-Yoruba indigenes of Lagos? What happened to one Nigeria? Right. My advice the last time, and which is also going to be the same this time, ordinarily you will think this is primarily to target the Igbos and their businesses. Of course, you will be right. But when they are done with the Igbos, and you are not Igbos, but you are not Yoruba. Abi, you are Hausa. You are Northerner. You are safe. No, you are not. I am, at least I am from Benin. I am not Igbo. Really? I am from Akwa Ibom. We are Niger Delta. We are not Igbos. The Igbos go see am. Shebi dem think say they no sabi play politics. They challenge Tinubu, so they will pay for it. You are not Igbos. Really? Now, let me tell you something. There is this popular saying that when they came for the Shiites, I kept quiet because I am not Shiite. So, not their business. So, when they came for the IPOB, the Biafrans, you looked away. At least you are not Biafran. Waiting concern me. I will not be Biafran, not their problem. Then they came for the Yoruba self-determination advocates. Then they serve that. Then nobody send them. Oh, they don't be Yoruba. We don't send them anything. Oh, we don't want Yoruba nation. Oh, now one Nigeria, we want to kill them. You looked away. So when they went for the revolution now, at least, what is revolution now? She already crazy. After he lose election, he can they do revolution in the mad, kill them, shoot them. One day they're going to come for you. Okay? And then you realize that there is actually nobody left. And this is how it is done in a fascist state, where you breathe when they want you to breathe. You sit down when they tell you to sit down. You stand up and start jumping when they tell you to do so. When they tell you, listen, this is the official religion. If you do any other religion, you will be killed. You have to obey it to stay alive. And when they tell you, this lane is for people like you. If you cross that lane to this lane, you will be killed or you will regret it. You would have to stay on that lane. And if you move from it, you get killed. A fascist state. You will vote for this person. If you say, no, I am voting for somebody else, you are violating the rule of a fascist state. You are, in fact, endangering your life. And this is how it starts. Nobody today, this thing starts. Nigeria get law, but the law is not for everybody. Here you get. Nigeria have constitution, a useless one, that ordinary Sharia law, pedophiles, child molesters, rapists, money launderers, drug abusers, criminals who are hiding behind religion, Sharia law. In northern Nigeria, if you kill and Sharia says you killed for Allah, Nigeria law cannot do anything. If Sharia law says you insulted Muhammad, they should send you to jail and kill you, Nigeria law will struggle to get you out. That is also in Nigeria. Now, you are going to have a law in Lagos. Dangote is not Yoruba, you know that. But I can tell you this free of charge. Not even Dangote is safe. Impossible. Look at you. It is called nationalization, ladies and gentlemen. When they say they want to make law, in the interest of the indigenous people to own the land before you, okay, to own the business before you. For example, you know, if Alaba International Markets during the campaign, according to these jobless people who have never actually created wealth, created money, other than to take and take, these are agberos who are in suits as well as in jackets, taking money, free money that they can't really explain every day. They have no idea of how to create wealth. So when they see you, for instance, owning businesses, they are wondering, how did you do it? Oh, don't you think that we can create wealth? But for you creating wealth that is actually prospering this state, feeding these freeloaders, feeding these scavengers, feeding this, you know, pickpocket and their families. We can decide that that business should be a Yoruba man's business. I know a lot of you are already saying that it's not going to happen. Mayegun, forget it. The law is not going to stand. Of course. Tell yourself that repeatedly. It is not going to stand. And then when you wake up, you can come back to this video. The law is not intended for those who have their friends, elites like them. I'm talking about those who have a multi-billionaire naira or dollars businesses in Lagos and they are non-Yorubas. They are Igbos. This is not after them. These criminals, they know what they are doing. They are pandering to their base because during the last election, they are criminal, you know, unemployed, jobless Lagos Abobakus. They were blaming them. They were blaming their political criminals like Obasa and Co. for the defeat of APC, Egbekegbe in Lagos. According to them, they didn't give them enough empowerment to stand up and defend them against those who rejected them. So if they survived, they must make them priority and they must do something about the Igbos who insulted them by contesting an election, a national election against their drug lord, Tifnumbu. So they threatened their political class. Obasa and gang, they're not going to target multi-billion-dollar businesses that are non-Yorubas. They're going to target you, a maker that is selling a spare part somewhere right there in Ladipo. Of course, they're going to target you, Chinyere, and son, and your electronics right there in Alaba. They are going to target all your businesses enough to make you realize that they are superior than you. They have no other plan. These guys have no plan of saying, we are going to make laws that is now going to prioritize the Yorubas or the indigenous Yorubas in Lagos to have access to cheap loans, to have access to cheap education fund. Those who wanted to go to school, or those of them who are schooling right now, struggling and dropping out because of the economy of Nigeria, they are not making law, a special law that will grant them a 0% loan to sponsor their education. They're not going to grant them a 0% loan. I'm talking about real money to invest in them to actually get them up and running an economy that they can say, this is Yoruba economy we are creating. They're not going to do that. They are going to bank on the aids. Because as hateful as you have become, you need somebody to blame. And who do you want to blame? I have told you this many times. Just blame the Igbos. But in this instance, when they make it law, it is no longer going to be about the Igbos. Maybe you should put that in your mind. When it becomes law, it becomes a targeting tool in their hands to those they know, they can use it to oppress or suppress. And in a nutshell, why do you even want to find out? Why does anybody want to find out when you are non-Yoruba? You can see what they are attempting to do. It's not hard. Their intention is not to make Yoruba's lives better in Lagos. Their intention is not to say, if you are a Yoruba in Lagos and you are currently suffering, you are about to become homeless because you can no longer afford your rent because of high cost of living. Now, as a Yoruba man, we are going to put aside some money for Yoruba families in Lagos. Go there, go and access this fund and put your lives together. Pay your children's school fees, pay hospital bills. If you are a Yoruba, we are putting law together that every hospital you go to, even if you need a kidney transplant, even if you need a heart surgery, if you need any kind of a medical, procedure as Yoruba in Lagos, okay, you are entitled to get them for free. These are the things that add values, that add meaning, that add real meaning to being Yoruba. But that's not what they want to do. You know that. I know that. It is just the continuation of the divisive politics, which, as you can see, is about to tear Nigeria apart. So they can go ahead and do the law. Are you with me? And then everybody in Nigeria should do the same law. Are you following? Yes. The breakup of Nigeria is going to be gradual. It's not going to be sudden, like some of you kind of were believing. Okay? When you say this particular part of Nigeria, all right, even though you are Nigerian, okay, you are not allowed to do this, and that. Why don't you just support the breakup of Nigeria so that we can have Yoruba nation? There are countries, somebody said, but there are countries who are making the laws whereby you cannot just go there and buy land. In America, Chinese cannot buy land. That's America, Baba, American law. Nigeria law says if you are a Nigerian, it didn't say if you are a Chinese, you cannot buy land in Nigeria. You are selling your landed properties to Chinese, to Pakistanis, to Indians. You are selling them to all these people who can pay you huge amount of money to build their slave site called, what did they call them again? Industrial? No, it's not even industrial. Where they are hiring your people, our people, as casual laborers with peanuts and no job security. You know all of this. America, if America says Chinese should not be sold land in America, if you are a Chinese American, you are American. You will buy a house, you own properties to your name without anybody having to say, hey, no. So if you want something like that, but in Igbo land, you cannot buy land. They will tell you that their ancestors said they should not sell land to you. Is that a law in Igbo land? How come non-Igbo businesses are also in Igbo land? How come your Yoruba brothers and sisters and non-Igbos, non-Easterners are those who are ruling over the oil industry in Eastern Nigeria? Are you actually, I was talking to a friend today, and he was like, it serves the Igbos right. Their own too much. I was like, okay. You cannot buy land in their place. They will tell you that their ancestors said they should not sell land to you. Now, but they are everywhere. Other people are selling land to them. They are building houses. They are building businesses. Yet they will not respect. I was like, so you support the idea of, you believe that this sin is targeted at the Igbo. Say, yes, now, we know now. They are on too much, Jerry, my brother. I was like, but you are not Yoruba. I was like, now, but at least I'm not Igbo. Ah. I was like, really? So you kind of, believe that you are not going to be affected because you are not Igbo. At least you are from Niger Delta. It was like, now. I was like, you are welcome to the party. Listen to this. If the Igbos, as they told you, because one of the things I asked him was that, have you actually been to Igbo land? And you know what he said? He was like, no, I've never been there. I was like, but you are so close to, places like Onitsha, which is, Anambra and all that. And I was like, yeah, but I've never been there. I was like, so where did you hear that their ancestors told them not to sell land? It was like, everybody knows that now. I was like, okay. But you heard that mostly from politicians, let's be honest, politicians and all that. I was like, now. I was like, okay. And you believe that you've never really been there. I was like, now. I was like, do you know that by geographical, what do you call it? Boundary. The space that is today, after all the political machination, cut and sew, the space left today for the eastern Nigeria is the smallest space you can find on Nigeria map where everybody comes from as it is. And I was like, have you ever asked yourself that land itself in scarcity in that part of Nigeria ordinarily will kind of take it away from the reach of people like me and you who can't cough out exorbitant money to acquire them? Like, have you ever thought about that? I was like, okay, in northern Nigeria, or let me say, put it this way, outside Lagos, where we are kind of blessed enough to have more land, more space than the people of eastern Nigeria. Okay? If you have your access to land, whether you are Yoruba or not Yoruba, is almost unlimited. Okay? Which makes it more cheaper. But if you move a little bit further and go to Lagos, it becomes a different story. It is still Yoruba land, though. Sure you get. So the scarcity of land there will make it what? Why are you throwing the tribal narrative? Simply because we all know this same land is never going to be at the easiest reach of majority of us. So if you now have one inherited from your own forebearers, and somehow you know the value of this land, and you decided not to sell it, or convinced not to sell it, how do you have to associate that with tribal of they don't want people in their land? Now, if you agree that they don't want people in their land, okay, do you have a record of anywhere else where you have Igbos who own landed properties that they stole them? Any record of that? And say, we know their story. Now, so that they fight people for Lagos. The clashes in Lagos is about land. Imagine somebody from Igbo land coming to claim land in Lagos. Have you ever seen any story like that? Have you ever seen it anywhere on record that they said the clashes happening in Ogun State, in Kwara, in Oyo, in Ondo, in Ekiti is because some Igbos are fighting the people there because of their land? Have you ever heard anything like that? So where does this narrative of they love to buy land elsewhere but they will never sell their own, when you actually have no plan of buying any land in Igbo land? You've never been there. Most of you have never been there. But for political division, it suits well. And a lot of you grew up repeating that same statement. Some of you are older today, in your 60s, in your 50s. You are so conveniently in that frame of mind. The Igbos don't want anybody. They don't do this. But yet, Yorubas are those who are running the oil industry in Igbo land. Do you know that? Do you? Or you don't? They are there. And they are with their families. Imo State with 11 oil rigs in their own state, oil producing state. Anambra State with their oil. Abia State with their oil. Ebonyi State with their oil, which they haven't really been tapped. Now, when you take these 4 states out of 5 that you know in Eastern Nigeria, and then you go in there, you see oil servicing companies who have their parent companies in Lagos, adding to the tax and revenue of Lagos. But yet, their major operation is there right there in Eastern Nigeria. Your brothers are there, directors of this. And then you suddenly changed that to Shena the Igbos get share in Shena the Igbos get the oil company in. But yet, there's no drop of oil in Lagos. But all of the oil companies in Niger Delta, in Igbo land, they have all their headquarters in Lagos, paying taxes to Lagos state government. Do you actually have an idea of what you're actually requesting for? It is so easy. The last time I told you, don't wait till they start burning your properties. Don't wait till they start making laws revoking your CFOs. Don't wait for them until they start attacking your businesses. Begin to what? Divest your investment in Lagos. Because when they make laws of indigenous this or that, you can all go back and pressure your own state governments too. They have been so useless for decades. This time around, they are sending all of you back to Eastern Nigeria, not just Eastern Nigeria. They are sending all non-Yorubas out of Yoruba land by making laws that ordinarily have already been ingrained in the minds of their lackeys. So don't wait until they begin to burn your properties, begin to divest, use your resources and mount enough pressure on your own state governments now. And tell them you need indigenous laws too. Remember, when this pension law started, it started in Lagos, in case if you have forgotten. Tifnumbu started putting together the arrangement of owning all the government properties, the Lagos state properties, to his name. And he put together a pension law, right, that allows him, okay, to have 2 houses in Lagos, 2 houses in Abuja, serviced houses, so with service cook, security gateman, driver, and he will be paid the same salary of any sitting governor in Lagos. The pension law started in Lagos, remember? Today, in 2007, when Fashola came in, Isaleko Barack Obama, he signed it into law. And that's how Tifnumbu became the first governor in Nigeria to be paid pension, a pension that indeed is ridiculous. Today, Lagos State have Tifnumbu, Fashola, Ambode, and now Sanwo-Iku. So 4 of them, by the time they have another governor, Lagos State will be paying the salary of 5 governors, the same salary of the sitting one, the same emolument, including the renewal of a SCARS every 2 years. Now, when they made this law, they said Lagos could pay for it. No cause for alarm. Remember, they are just rent seekers. Remember? Today in Nigeria, more than 30 states in Nigeria have passed the same law, even when their states are already bankrupted. When majority of them have escalated the poverty in Nigeria through their own people in a space of 15 years. So if Lagos make law that everybody should go back to their states, go and look for a job in your state, go and do your business in your state. Because yes, we want you to know that you doing business in Lagos is a privilege. It's not a right. That's what they're doing. It's a privilege. That you are a Nigerian, but you are not a Yoruba in Lagos. Everything you have access to is a privilege. And this is going to be a targeted move. I know a lot of you have said that it's not going to stand, but just get yourselves ready. Because a lot of those who are going to be victims, they are not going to come in a way and say, we are taking over your CFO. No. All they have to do is that once they single you out, everywhere they know that non-Yorubas are, that they've already targeted your businesses and the rest of them. All they would have to do is, one, tell you you're going to lose them. Threaten you. You will sleep and wake up every day with that threat of you may lose your house, you may lose your business. The government may take it back anytime, right? Then you will spend most of your days trying to fight it in courts. Some of you will survive it. Some of your parents, all of their life savings, life investment, everything they've owned, they are about to go up in smoke. If you love them, there's no better time than now for everybody to know that the breakup of Nigeria starts from this APC. They are laying the foundation. I'll take you to Lagos. Obasa, a thief. The guy wanted, or should I say, being probed by the EFCC for corruption, looting and stealing. Lagos State for 24 years. Nobody has seen their book. Now, to satisfy the fantasy of their jobless Lagos Abobakus, who for decades now, for 2 decades, they still don't believe that the reason why they are poor, the reasons why they are jobless, the reasons why they are actually living in poverty today is not because of non-Yorubas. Are you with me? It is because, in fact, indeed, because of the Yorubas who have been deceiving them, parading themselves as Yoruba leaders who care for them. But today, we are now in the basket of the jobless, as in highest unemployed people in the world, most terrorized people in the world, people who are living in the multi-dimensional poverty in the world. And guess what? They can't even blame their criminal politicians. And in order not to make them docile or confused, they decided to give them the Igbos, not telling them that they are indeed helping the Igbos, especially the indigenous people of Biafra, the IPOB, to prove them right. Have you thought about that? Today, when the Igbos were attacked in Lagos because of election, it gave credence to the argument of the IPOB that, do you want to wait for another time when they are going to gang up with you, this political class, when they are going to incite their humbled slaves, their sophisticated morons, the people that they have managed to use religion and then a tribe, right, to keep in bondage? Are the Igbos going to wait until they start slaughtering you again? Are you going to wait until they start destroying everything you have again from across Nigeria? They make all these threats openly. They no longer hide them. And you keep saying, if they bring gun, you go show them. You have no idea. When they set a tribal war against you, your friends will be there to witness your execution. In fact, your wife, your husband could turn up and witness your destruction because of this tribal incitement that these politicians have managed to entrench for a long time. So IPOB will say, do you want to wait for another program? Before they will tell you that Nigeria is not for you. And all of you, from me, Mayegun, those of you who are calling the Yorubas who have rejected this xenophobic mentality, Yorubas who have publicly called out that this is not about Yoruba people. All of this nonsense is not about Yorubas. All this nonsense is not about the Yoruba progress. It's not about, saving the integrity of the Yorubas, okay? It is simply for political survival of these hustlers, okay? And I say it to you, to those of you who call the Yorubas, who rejected these xenophobic preachings and ideas, you call them Omoales, okay? Now, would you be able to stop your hypocrisy and support the breakup of Nigeria? Because what you are trying to do can only be done successfully if you have a country of your own. Do you understand? In Britain, you have those who will tell you Britain first, right? They mean it. They mean that when it comes to the science, leading science and technology, it must be controlled by the British. Do you understand what that means to them? It means their own originality. It means their own country. There are also moderate and reasonable people who are majorly in majority here, who also believe that if that is your idea, then you are failing because your country is not built by you people. For example, right? Today, America, that is the greatest country on earth. I know some of you will argue that. My ego don't say that America is not greatest. See, it is debatable. Somebody will say, fine. But America, that is the greatest country in the whole world today, was built by the collection effort of the rest of the world. Africans, Asians, Arabs, Christians, Muslims, atheists, Hinduists, and the rest of them, and the Americans themselves. And there are incentives for all of this to make them feel like they are not just building America, they are building their own America that they will live and exist in, that generations and generations to come like them will live and exist in with equal rights. So to say, Lagos is not built by Lagosians. You know that. Lagos is not built by Lagosians. Lagos is built by the collective resources of the rest of Nigeria, both human and natural resources. This is a fact. Now, if you really want to have your country where you can decide who gets what, you can't do that inside Nigeria without clashing with your Section 42, your fraudulent one Nigeria. So can you drop the hypocrisy then and just move and fight for Yoruba nation without Nigeria, so that we as Yorubas, we can slug this out between us? The Yorubas who don't want to be xenophobic and the opportunists who have taken political power, we can sort it out among ourselves without you having to present Yorubas as tribal bigots, ethnic bigots, and the rest of all these things that you're actually postulating. And the rest of you bigots who always kind of find explanation for what they are doing, you have no idea of what you are getting yourselves involved in. You have no idea. And I actually pray they do it. And I pray that they do it like right now. So that, you see, for every action, there is always going to be an expected opposite reaction. And those of you who are also living in denial, we own Nigeria together. Nobody is going for anybody. You, especially you, the Igbos. I am saying this to you now, not because I actually wishes that all the evils they have in mind come to pass. I want to make you stop living in denial. This whole thing is politics, and it has now switched to tribal and religious confrontation, and it's going to get worse. So when you plan policy or laws after tribal differences or tribal dominance, ethnic subjugation or dominance, you are not going to bring unity. You are going to create more division, suspicion. Has Nigeria not suffered all of that enough? So if you claim to be educated and you think this is the way to protect the interests of indigenous people of Yoruba land, I am willing to tell you this for free, okay? You have no idea the journey you are about to embark upon, because this monopoly of this madness will not be limited to the Yorubas. Everybody is going to reciprocate, and it won't take long before you all come back and agree with Mayegun that if you love Nigeria, you will break it up to save lives. Everybody will stop living in denial, because we all know any opportunity given, you can't wait to pounce on ourselves. We can't. Abi? Now, you can tell the rush in his voice, and I know they're also working on reporting my channel because of all this, all this chat and all that. But until that is done, we'll keep to the ethic. Here is what Obasa had to say and the response that followed from Lagos.